Welcome back. I'm Phil.
I'm Sam.
We are Bars and Barbells, and we're coming back to Germany today.
16 things not to do in Germany.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect on this one, although you guys were recommended we should check this one out. So that's how we've arrived. And we did, what was it, top 25 places to visit in Germany.
And I want to go to like 24 of them.
I would say I want to go to all 25. How about that? It was great. It was so fantastic. Mind-blowing because we had no idea that Germany looked that way. But we've been learning about a lot of different countries on the channel thus far, a lot of history, and we're going to continue that today. Also, oh no, I lied. The last one that we did, okay.
The words.
We've done both, yeah. I don't know the order. I can't remember. But we did words that are used in
English,
in Western culture, we'll say, that are actually German, like kindergarten, for example. Yes. That was one video that we did. And then we also did the top 25 places to visit in Germany. So, and I think we did one on the Autobahn as well. That was meh.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, you guys didn't like that one. You guys were saying it wasn't really very accurate. So this will be, I believe, our fourth video, 16 things not to do in Germany. If you have other recommendations for cultural based stuff in Europe or Germany or whatever, yeah, like Sam said, comment section down below. I've really enjoyed getting to know about Germany a little bit more. You did.
I have. It's opened my eyes a lot. Like I said, like the landscape, I was not expecting it to be like that. It made me want to go there. And even the words, there was a bunch in there that I recognized that I had no clue they were German words.
So this is what we do on the channel, guys. We learn
new things.
So if you want to be a part of it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's go. 16 things. I was going to say 19. Maybe I'll add 3 of my own at the end. 16 things to do in Germany.
What's up, everybody? We are Deanna and Phil. Deanna is from the United States and I am from Germany. And in this video, we're going over 16 things that you should not do in Germany.
Alright, so some of these things are a little more serious and some of them are going to be pretty funny, so let's just get right into it.
Alright, number 1. You should never recycle wrong or throw away your Pfand.
Pfand!
So Germany is a pretty green country and people tend to take their recycling pretty serious. So if you're here, you should not just throw everything in one bucket, but separate it between plastic, metal, paper, rest, and all that good stuff. I don't even know how many there are.
So Pfand is a deposit where you pay a little extra on bottles or cans, and you'll usually return them at a little machine in the supermarkets where you get a voucher and your money back for doing a good thing. So never throw away your Pfand bottle. Pfand!
Number 2, you should never.
So we grew up in Canada. We don't live there anymore. We've moved to Mexico, and Canada is very similar to Germany, I would say. You got to sort your recycling, and it's very much marketed to people and told, express that recycling can help the environment. And as I said, you have to sort it out. Now, that's very different than Mexico,
where it doesn't exist.
No, recycling is everything goes in the landfill in Mexico.
Yep.
So
there's some people that collect recycling to exchange it in.
Yeah.
And I think you have to take that pretty far away.
It's mostly glass stuff that they're going to.
But the average home does not. When we first moved here, we were like, where's the recycling bins? And they were like.
We're so accustomed to it in Canada, right? Yeah. And it was just nowhere to be found in
no compost either.
Places. Yeah. So anyways, let's continue.
Drive on the left or the middle lane of the Autobahn. There's actually a law in place that requires you to drive on the right lane on the Autobahn at all times unless you're overtaking somebody. So if you're not planning to go super fast and overtake a lot of people, you're required to drive on the right lane. So don't drive in the middle or the left lane slowly and block traffic because people will get aggressive.
And honk. Number 3, don't walk in the bicycle lanes. In Germany, there are a lot of different bicycle lanes in and out of the city, and especially in student towns, there'll be a lot of bikers. So don't walk in them. Walk in the pedestrian zones or a sidewalk. That's what they're for.
Number 4, do not address strangers using their first name. It is kind of funny, but in Germany, for the word you, if you address somebody, we have 2 versions. There is du and there is sie. And sie is a polite version. It also implies that sie, you're on a last name basis. So that is the polite version to use. And if you meet somebody for the first time, or especially an elder person, you use the polite form. You do not use their first name. You are on a last name basis and use the sie instead of the du. And if you get to know a person very well and you're on a friend basis, on a first name basis, then it's fine to use the first name and the du. Du Diana.
Du Diana. Number 5, don't use public transportation without a ticket. A lot of the public transportation systems are controlled a lot, and there'll be men and women who just appear once the ride has started to check on everyone to see if they have a ticket.
Yeah,
You're
they're
gonna get
undercover. And the fines are usually kind of high or out of proportion with the ticket prices.
Yeah.
A number I always have in my mind is 60 euros, but nowadays it might be even more, like 80 or 100.
It's not worth it.
Okay, number 6, and this is a little bit more of a serious one. You should never show the Nazi salute or joke about Nazis in Germany.
I would hope not.
Of course, because
Yeah.
of the history in Germany, it's kind of a forbidden thing to do. And most of the Germans nowadays were kind of raised by this post-World War II anti-Nazi generation. If another person comes to the country and does anything Nazi related, it's so out of our minds that it's so weird that the world still thinks that. So that's quite offensive, and you should never ever do that. And by the way, the same thing also applies to sing the old version of the national anthem. And I think around the world a couple of people still think that might be it. And it's the one with the Deutschland, Deutschland über alles. That is the Nazi anthem. You're not allowed to sing that anymore. The real one is Einigkeit und Recht und Freiheit, blah blah blah. That's the newer national anthem, and that's the only one that's supposed to be sung in Germany.
Number 7, don't gossip.
So
I didn't
in-
even know there was 2 versions of their national anthem.
Yeah, I do think I've heard maybe in like historical videos or something like that, but I'm not familiar with the actual German national anthem, so I wouldn't have been able to pick out between the two. Very interesting, though. I mean, obviously, World War II is so long ago now, 80 years ago, and you know that stigma is still, you know, so much so in this video they're still making mention, like, don't people coming here to doing that is not cool, you know.
Yeah.
I would have just assumed that, like, I just
Yeah, me
figured,
too.
you know, that wouldn't even be an issue as an outsider. But you know, I guess in Germany it's like one of those things where it probably took so long for Germany to rebrand its image and, you know, be accepted around the world again, because, you know, obviously, you know, there was so much that transpired in such a short period of time that, you know, it's still really like, no, like that's the really sore spot. I mean, of course it's a sore spot anywhere, but I feel like
Yeah.
we're hearing, you know, straight from the horse's mouth here
Yeah.
in Germany. It's like, yeah, don't do that. Which like I said, I would have expected.
Yeah, I just kind of assumed that was like a no-brainer.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say is a lot of this stuff seems, you know, similar to Canada.
I was thinking that too. Like when they were talking about the train, I was like, the train system in Canada, it's the same way. They got like random people coming to check on your ticket, and if you don't got it, you're paying like $150 fine.
Yeah.
Only one that's supposed to be sung in Germany.
Number 7, don't gossip in English in public. Most Germans have a very decent grasp of English, and they'll probably understand you. I know it's very common when people go to other countries, they tend to gossip in another language. I've heard it spoken in different languages all the time, and it's a little uncomfortable and embarrassing when other people understand you. So to avoid uncomfortable situations like that, gossip behind their back.
Number 8. You should never disrespect the German quiet hours.
Quiet hours.
So every day, or rather every night, from 10 p.m. till 6 or 7 a.m. the next morning, in Germany, by law, there are quiet hours. So you're not supposed to like play loud music, do construction or anything like that. Most of the country kind of abides by that rule, which means there's very little noise pollution during the night when you're trying to sleep or relax. And I think it's a kind of a nice thing. So if you do that, the Germans probably will call the police on you because they think they're in the right, and they do that and the police knocks and like, turn it down. Never ever disrespect the quiet hours. All right, so before we continue with the video, we want to take a quick moment to remind you guys, please go and like the video. It helps us out a lot. We're still a small channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. I can see that about 80% of the viewers are not subscribed to the channel. Also, if you want to further support us, you can do that on Patreon. We have a Patreon page. It's patreon.com/Jana and Phil. And we have different tiers of support and benefits that you get on there. And every support is highly, highly appreciated.
Yes, and we wanted to take a quick moment to shout out our newest soulmate Patreon, Jeff Lobig?
Jeff Lubik?
Lubik? We're not sure if it's the German or the English pronunciation. Correct us if we're wrong.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And back to the video.
So
little
number
bear.
9, don't solely rely on credit card payments. In Germany, there's still
What
a
do you
lot of
use?
things that are pretty cash-based, and sometimes your
Really?
credit card will even be rejected from a stall or bakery or a vendor. So it's important to note and make sure you have cash on you. So
So that's a little more like Mexico. There's a lot of things that are no
Cash
card.
only.
Cash only.
Or if you want to pay card, there's a hefty fee.
Yeah. And
Like I've seen like up to 10% for a fee.
yeah, and you never really know in Mexico. Like you're really expected to arrive with cash because there's a good chance that you may need cash, but it's never, it's never set up front like on the
No.
Instagram page or, on their marketing anywhere. Like even when you walk into the store, rarely will it say we only accept cash, which I would be accustomed to seeing that in Canada, which is much more a cashless society.
Yeah, I've even had situations where I've gone to a service or appointment and then I've gone to pay and they're like, oh, sorry, our machine's broken. And I'm like, well, I don't have cash. So
Yeah. I
and
mean,
I have to go, leave and come back.
now we kind of know, as I
Yeah.
said, to bring cash just in case. But I'm surprised that Germany is still using cash.
Well, it's funny because in Canada, there's places that won't take cash now. Like
Yeah.
I've had stores that will have signs that say no cash accepted.
Yeah, I had envisioned Europe in general as being more of a cashless society, but clearly
Yeah.
that's not the case.
a vendor. So it's important to note and make sure you have cash on you. So number 10, don't expect small talk. If you're from the South and you're used to the good old Southern American small talk, that's not gonna happen. And it's not trying to be rude, it's just a cultural difference. So don't expect to chat with a random stranger about the weather or something.
Number 11 is do not expect free water anywhere. So if you're used to the American way, you go to a restaurant and the waiter comes right away with a nice bucket of cold ass water and refills you for free all evening long. That is not a thing in Germany and you should not expect that. I think it's quite of a dumb thing, but water in German restaurants is quite expensive and most of the times even bubbly.
Sprudelwasser.
So in some places you could actually ask for tap water and potentially get it for free, but a lot of places don't even do that, and if they do, it might be a little frowned upon, but in general you should not expect free water everywhere. Number 12. Do not enter a house with your shoes on. So all around Germany it's pretty common to take off your
Canada.
shoes if you enter somebody else's house. Or at least you should ask if you should take your shoes off. And sometimes they say, no, you don't have to. But a lot of times people take their shoes off right at the entrance, leave them there, and then just walk around in your socks.
Leave your dirty shoes in the front.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious how many of the households do that. I would say the majority of the households in Germany do that thing and do not walk around with their shoes on. Maybe let us know in the comments below if you had to take your shoes off at your parents' house or how you do it at the moment.
That's the only way I'm accustomed to is going in a house and taking off my shoes.
Yeah, growing up, it was always like that for me.
Every time somebody tells me to keep my shoes on when I go into a home, I'm like, this is weird.
I know. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I mean,
You
that's
want to
it.
mop the floors more?
Well, yeah, I mean, culturally, I think is probably popular in certain areas like that we're referring to in here, right? Some people are just like, it's a floor. Wear shoes on the floor, right?
Yeah.
But for me, as you said, that means you probably have to clean a little bit more and you could track, stuff onto the bed and
Yeah, to me, it's so weird. Like you would just think like common respect to like keep somebody's place clean that you wouldn't wear your shoes in there. Like, I don't know.
But I guess so too, right? Like if you have animals as an example,
Yeah.
right? And then they just leave hair all over the place.
Or like
and-
your dog's going inside and
Yeah.
outside and coming back in.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of going to be dirty regardless,
We
right?
used to have
And
a
it's
towel at
floor.
our front door to wipe the dog's paws every time it came back inside when
Well,
we
and
were
it's
young.
a floor. Like, I mean, you're not eating off of it, right?
Yeah.
So
Fair.
So if you had to take your shoes off at your parents' house or how you do it at the moment.
So number 13, don't give advance birthday wishes. Even if it's a day before someone's birthday and you will not see them on their birthday, do not wish them a happy birthday.
It's not their birthday yet.
I learned that after coming to Germany. You are not allowed to wish them a happy birthday until on their birthday or after their birthday.
Yeah, and I was surprised to
Interesting.
learn in the US that a lot of people do that actually.
Some people will have a party a week in advance if that just works with their schedule.
So much bad luck. Number 14 is kind of a very serious one. You should never, ever expect to be dressed in a sauna on every beach. All right, this is kind of a funny one. We just wanted to throw that in there. In Germany, in a sauna, usually you are naked. You go in with a towel and then you take it off or whatever, but you are actually not allowed to wear any clothing. If you wear clothing in there, people can get the whatever security or supervisors and they'll throw you out or make you undress.
They need to be
Must
naked.
Be naked.
Yeah, there are also parts of beaches in Germany that are especially for nakedness, nudity.
Beaches.
Yeah, nude beaches. We call it FKK, Freikörperkultur. And on these beaches, you have to be naked. It's not allowed to wear any clothes.
Like fully naked?
Yeah, fully naked.
Yeah, so I've yet to go to a nude beach or a nude sauna, but I'm open to it.
Ho ho. Should I be concerned?
Why? Just gonna be a whole bunch of older people. So number 15, don't abandon your shopping cart. I feel like in the US sometimes there'll be shopping carts spread throughout the parking lot and they'll just be like a shopping cart ghost town. In Germany, that is not the case. You need a coin
Unacceptable.
to access a cart, and you also want your coin back, so you have to return the cart to get your coin back. And it's a good system, it's nice, and there's not abandoned shopping carts everywhere.
And our last point, point number 16, is in Germany, you should not jaywalk.
We ain't in New York City.
Yeah, but we're kind of in Berlin, so let's say you should not, but a lot of people still do it. Although I think the majority of the people kind of follow the rules and they do not jaywalk. You should always cross where the little traffic light is and then only when the green
the man
mannequin,
tells you.
not the red one. And it's not that hardly persecuted, but you can actually get fined if you get caught in the act jaywalking. So the police sees you, gets you, and I don't know how much it is, 5, 10, 20 euros, something like that. So you should not jaywalk in Germany. All right, so those were our 16 things that you should not do if you go to Germany. Let us know in the comments below if you can think about any other things that you shouldn't do
Let us
in
know,
Germany.
guys.
Also, maybe you've been to Germany and some things of these might have happened to you. We would be curious to hear about that.
As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye!
So, the nudity on the beach and in the saunas sounds completely European to me.
It's funny because we had gone to the spa here in Mexico and it's separated by male and female. And in the female side of it, there was a girl in there who I couldn't at the time tell her accent. I wasn't sure if she was German or if she was something else. But she went into the sauna and into the hot plunge pool with no clothes on.
Right.
And then somebody came and kicked her out and told her,
Right.
you have to
So
wear
it's the
clothes.
opposite.
Yeah. And she was getting very, very upset and like not understanding why. But they were like, no, like you have to respect other people's like,
Right.
you know, sanctity of their space.
Yeah, and I remember you coming home and you talking about it and being like, this girl was just, full out, everything was showing, and it was surprising to you. But
Yeah.
that we see the inverse is true if you go to Germany, that they will actually be offended if you wear clothes. So cultural norm difference there, obviously. And generally, I would say, more closer to Canada, these things, than closer to Mexico.
Yeah, for sure. Most of them.
Pardon me?
I said most of them.
Yeah. There was one towards the end there that reminded me of Mexico. I can't remember which one it was now. But anyways, it was enlightening nonetheless. I mean, there were some surprising things in there, but I would say none of it was like really like, whoa, you can't do that. The jaywalking thing, I feel like that's, Canada's the same thing. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't jaywalk, but like I've never ever heard of anybody ever getting a fine for jaywalking.
No, well, again, just using the Mexican comparison, like in Mexico, we don't even have proper sidewalks everywhere, and most intersections don't have a light, so you're jaywalking all the time.
Yeah, Mexico's definitely more of a free for all. I would say it's, kind of you can make your own way, and there's less restrictions
Make
around.
your own way.
Yeah, but some people like that. Some people like the freedom of it, right? There's definitely things I really love about Mexico in comparison to Canada. There's things that I miss, and I think this video here, same thing, highlights cultural differences. Some people may love going to a nude spa, and some people may not. But
I thought the birthday thing was a little bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of like a superstitious thing,
Yeah.
right, I would say. So anyways, guys, give us more details down below if you've got them on things to keep in mind when going to Germany. And we've got to get out of here because we've got a cultural norm of feeding our cat that we got to do right now because she's
hovering.
She's hovering. So hopefully you guys are having a great day today. Give us more information about Germany or recommendations about Germany in terms of videos that we should do down below in the comment section. Hit the like button. We'll see you soon.